stitching cabin and welcome back to my third Flosstube. I would just like to say welcome to everybody and thank you very much for all the lovely comments on my previous videos. We've got loads to talk about today. I've got lots to show you. I've got 2 of my personal whips that I've been working on, 2 finishes, 3 if you count knitting, and 3 different designs that I've been working on for my own designs, and also some model stitching. First of all, I just want to say sorry about the confusion about my channel name. I originally decided I would have a different YouTube channel name just so that people kind of could tell the difference between me and my designs and other people's designs, but it was just causing a lot of confusion for everyone. So I've decided that I'm just going to be Stitching Cabin, because that's who I am over on Instagram. That's who I am really. So I will just make it very, very clear which are my designs, and then obviously if I'm stitching patterns and charts by other designers, I will make it very, very clear that that's not one of my designs. It is in fact a Dimensions Gold or a Heaven and Earth design, whatever. I will always make sure to tell you who the designers are so there's no confusion. We've got loads to get through today. I've only got about 35 minutes to film, so it's going to be a fast-paced episode today. So first of all, I'm going to talk about my 2 personal stitching projects. Now then, I've got 6 projects in my rotation at the moment, but the first half of January we were just full of cold, like the whole family was just really, really poorly, and so I didn't get hardly any stitching done. So I'll show you what I have managed. So this is Castle View by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Alexandra Gavrilova. I'll put a picture to show you what the full design will look like. Now my goal for January was to finish the second page. I did not achieve that goal, so this is the, what was it, the 3rd page? No, second page, which would have been this one. I did not achieve this goal whatsoever. I put about 300 stitches into this, so we're getting towards the 5% mark. Yeah, and you can see, like, I haven't even finished my thread yet. I've just sort of got halfway through, so I'm still just stitching in little diagonals. It's mostly, I think, 819 and Blanc, and just trying to finish that page. But yeah, like you can see, I got nowhere near finishing this page, which is what I really did want to do, but sometimes life. So if I can do better in February, that would be wonderful. I need to do better in February, and hopefully could get this page finished and then maybe work on the chateau, because that's the fun part to stitch. I will be glad when I've got the background done. The second project I worked on is this one. It's called Winter Is by Durene Jones, and you can see where I was before, and I wanted to stitch a motif in January, and so you can see that I have started on this one here. So here there's like a scarf and then there's some mittens, and so I put in about 300 stitches on this. I was feeling pretty rough, so I didn't get much stitching done, but I love the colours. The colours were really nice and bright, and yeah, it's nice to see the motifs come into life now. Sorry, the Castle View, I am stitching on a 25 count Zweigart 2/1 tent stitch. I forgot to say it's the magic guide. And Winter Is, I am stitching on a 32 count opalescent. Is it Murano? I think it might be a Murano. But yeah, it is lovely and sparkly for that like winter frost. You can see it sparkling there. It is lovely. And yeah, so it would be lovely to finish this scarf. I've got February to work on this piece. And then with these seasonal pieces, For my slot in my rotation, I rotate through the 4 pieces. This is my plan. So I don't think I've started spring yet. So in February, I'll have this last sort of rotation slot to work on this. Hopefully I will get the scarf done and backstitched. And then in March, I will then rotate and start the spring piece, the Spring Is, and that's got it's got sheep and birds and bunnies and like flowers. It's really pretty. And that I'm actually going to stitch on a 32 count Belfast, I think. Yeah, antique white, just because I only wanted the sparkle for winter. I think that goes really well. So the other reason why I haven't done much personal stitching this month is because some of you might know I have model stitched for some David and Charles books in the past. So David and Charles are a publisher who specialise in craft books. So they have loads of amazing books on cross stitching. I think they have embroidery, knitting, quilting. I think they have baking ones. They have loads of really, really lovely books. And of course they need model stitchers. So I've stitched for them in the past, and the director emailed and said, would I be able to take on a model stitch for them? So I said yes. So the second half of February has just been me stitching on the model stitch. I shouldn't have said yes really, because I've got plenty of my own designs to be model stitching, but I just thought yes, I can fit it in. So normally on an evening is when I would do my personal projects and work on my personal stitching. So I've either been absolutely full of cold and yeah, just that meagre sort of amount I've showed you, and then the second half of the month I've been working on this model stitch. Unfortunately, I can't show it to you yet, because obviously the design hasn't been released yet, and that would be awful for me to then show it to you. So I can't show it to you, but it's stitched on 14 count Aida, so it's quite a nice easy stitch. And in the evenings when I would normally be just watching TV or listening to some music or an audiobook, and working on my own personal project, that is when I've been stitching on this model stitch. So it is about 75% complete, so we're, I'm getting there, I'm almost there, and that has to be returned to them by the 10th of February. And when you're model stitching, you've got to be 2 things. You've got to be fast and you've got to be accurate. You've got to deliver the piece back by the deadline, otherwise you just wouldn't be asked again and you're not a reliable stitcher. So yeah, we're getting there with that piece, but that's why I've only been able to hit 2 of my 6 whips, so a poor stitching month from that point of view. My 2023 goals are not going well. Like, it's only the beginning of February and I'm already behind people. Yeah, so almost finished my model stitch. I've just got, a few thousand stitches left to go, and then once that's cleared off my plate, then hopefully I can get back into my rotation. Otherwise, let's go on now to my designs. If you are not interested in seeing my designs, these are pieces that I have designed and I'm stitching, so that I've got pictures, like photos, to be able to put onto my website. And just for me as well to check my designs, I like to stitch them so I know exactly what they're going to look like. However, if you're not interested, that's absolutely fine, and I'll try and put timestamps below so that you can skip ahead to the next chapter. Go for it, guys. So I have worked on 3 designs so far this month, in January. We're just starting February now. So the first one was, and I think I talked about this in my last Flosstube, is I had the idea of trying to do a mini free, sort of a stitch along, but every month I thought, wouldn't it be fun if I released a free pattern that's sort of seasonally based for the Northern Hemisphere, sorry Southern Hemisphere people, if there's interest in the Southern Hemisphere seasons, just let me know and I'll see what I can do. So I think I showed you, this was me working out some of my colour palette for the January little mini snowman. In the end, I decided to stitch him on the 32 count Murano, although I nearly went for the Belfast. So this is my little snowman all stitched up. If I can show you. Isn't he cute? Oh, he came out really, really well. Yeah, so when did I start him? I started him on the 24th of December. So he might have made an appearance in my last Flosstube. And I finished him on the 14th of January. And yeah, they're quite small designs. They're just about 40 stitches by 40, a little square design. I just think he's dead cute. A tiny bit of back stitching just there, just to show that the little tassels on his scarf and the little frame. And if you like this is free over on stitchingcabin.com, I think under the monthly section. Yeah, totally free to download. So he was really good fun to stitch. And then I also started on the February one. So let's have a look. This is February. And again, this is going to be free to download. How cute! So this is the February design. It is stitched on 32 count Belfast linen in pale cream. And I started this one on, I think it was like the 30th of January. I was just really behind. I mean, I wanted to have this completed by, mid-January by the latest, but with us being also poorly and then the model stitching, that took priority. But yeah, so it's just like little mittens and like woolly socks. So we've got the January and then the February piece. And I haven't quite finished this piece yet. I do need to put the border on. I am so terrible at fully finishing things. And so I've done it loads of times. So I finished it, got really excited, decided I wanted to like mount it on like a mount board. I don't know what happened, guys, but look how much I've trimmed off. Like I trimmed it with that much allowance. It was bigger and I cut it down, which was absolutely stupid. Would like to fully finish this at some point. And then when I finish this one too. So I saw Rebecca Bowen 29 over on Instagram has stitched this design, and she's finished hers as a little square cushion, and I'll put her details down below. I saw that and I thought that's amazing. So I really would like to finish this into a little cushion if I can. I've never finished anything like that before, so it will be a learning curve. Yeah, but she's finished it into a little square and then a little cord up, and it looks super cute. So she's got hers ready to hang up in, like, ready for next December, next January. So I would love to have a go at that with these, and then I don't have to frame them. I could just hang them on like a little doorknob or something. I think that'd be very, very cute. She's also done hers on a really dark blue fabric, which looks amazing. And I wish that I'd done mine on dark blue fabric too, because it did look really good. So I'm going to totally copy Rebecca, and at some point I'm going to try and finish these both into little cushions. Right, the last design I worked on was it was like a monthly, almost like a monthly seasonal calendar piece for January, and I'll show you. So this was my original kind of sketch for him. Again, snowmen. I'm like obsessed with snowmen at the moment. So that was my original design, and then this was me just trying to work out my colours. You can see I've just changed them slightly here. I just darkened up. There was only a few tweaks, just darkened up a few of the colours. And this is him. now. Isn't he cute? I mean, I know I designed it myself, so I'm not trying to say I'm amazing at designing or anything like that, but I just think he's dead cute. I don't know what it is with me and snowmen at the minute. I do love them, and snowflakes. So he is stitched on 32 count Belfast in pale cream. I really like antique white, but I wanted something just a tiny bit darker so that he'd show up better. So I've gone for pale cream. I almost think I could have gone even darker, I could have even tried raw. I've never tried raw linen, so that could be one. Yeah, and then you've got the little January, and I've left myself slightly bigger margins again, which is good. I'd love to make him maybe into like a flat fold or something to display maybe next year. But yeah, I love him. He's got a cheeky little face. And so I started him on the 19th of January. And so, yeah, just been stitching my little snowmen. So there we go. And I'll just show you, this is my journal. And if I show you here, so this is how I've been keeping track of all my various projects. Been trying to colour code it. And so I've just been, I would normally mark out which personal project rotation I'm in. And you can see that after that, I didn't really do them because I was doing the model stitching. I mean, that I didn't draw it in, but it was just all the way. And then I've also added my knitting to it as well. And then here in the January pages, I've noted down all of my whips. This was on New Year's Eve. I think I wrote this out when I was feeling optimistic about being able to touch all my whips, and I did not, but I just keep a track of the percentage of how far I am at the beginning of the month and then the end of the month. How many stitches I've completed, and if you use Pattern Keeper, it's dead easy. If I've got any goals, and then my designs that I've worked on as well. And at the front, again, I've made some notes on my various whips. And it's been working well. See, I need to update it. I've got one of my finishes in there. And then I've got my new starts in. I've also got some of my yearly stitching goals. So there's a couple of pages for your yearly stitching goals. So I've written those in as well. And then the page after, yearly stitching goals. And then the page after is monthly goals. And you can see there that I didn't hit hardly any of my goals that I wanted to for January. Which was a shame, but just with the model stitching and being full of cold. I did work on, mind you, I did work on, I would probably colour in Castle Heaven and Earth design just half, because I did touch on that, so I need to fill in that half too. So that's how I've been keeping track of my projects, and I've got the hardcover one. Right, let's go into knitting. It still makes me laugh when I say let's talk about knitting, because I'm not a knitter. So last Flosstube is the one where I was like, I've started trying to knit this sock. I had no idea how it would go, and I was like, don't mention it. If I don't talk about knitting this sock ever again, don't mention it. Because I think I had done the cuff and the leg, and I was coming up to the heel turn, which apparently is the most tricky part. So I have got it to show you. Not only that, but look. I did them. I did. Oh, they look different. They do match, I promise. I finished both of these socks. So I have a matching pair of socks. I'm so excited. I can't tell you how chuffed I am, because I've never really knitted before, so yeah, I can't actually believe I've knitted a pair of socks. I'm really chuffed with myself. There's loads of mistakes in them. Look, you can see there. Can you see there? Maybe there. I've got a bit of a ladder down there. It's better on one sock than the other. On my second sock, it's slightly better. You can just see it there though. And there's a little spot of, there's a few bit of a wrong places, but do you know what, I absolutely loved doing it, and I can't believe I've actually knitted something that I can wear, because I've always loved the thought of knitting, but I don't know, like I made that scarf and it's just, I would never have worn it. But these have turned out well, and I even tried to match the yarn, like the wool, so I mean I think that was more good luck than by good judgment, but I did manage it, so they do kind of like match all the way down, and then the toes are similar-ish, like that is, see, that's good enough for me, like that, just about matching. So originally I started with the Winnick Mum sock along instructions for 4-ply. Her tutorial, I found, because I was such a beginner, personally I found that quite difficult. I think if you've got experience knitting, then you would be absolutely fine with her instructions, because they are designed for beginners. Whether they're designed for somebody who has never ever really knitted before, so I then switched to Crazy Sock Lady on YouTube, has got an amazing tutorial, and you can choose, she has different tutorials for whether you knit on like a long circular needles, short circulars, or like double pointed needles, and I followed that, and you could just, it was brilliant. I love YouTube for that, so I could watch the video, do it, watch a bit more, do the next bit. Absolutely loved it. So I stitched, you can tell I'm a stitcher, I knitted this in the West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply yarn, which is what Winnick Mum recommends. It's part of her collection, and this is in the colour Seascape, and I absolutely love these colours. I think if I did these again, I'd almost like to knit another pair in this colourway, because I love it so much, and I would love to try the contrasting toes and heels and cuffs. That would be really good fun. But I absolutely love them. I've never had wool socks like this before. I've even bought some like wool fabric washer, fabric powder, but it's for wool. And so I've been putting them in the washing machine on a low, like a hand wash cycle, they're fine. And I even kitchen stitched the toes, which was tricky, but I'm so chuffed. I'm chuffed to bits, guys, and they're so warm, because I'm not used to wearing wool socks. They are so lovely and warm, and they smell really nice. Like, yeah, they smell less woolly now, but they still smell of wool. And when I was knitting them, it was just so relaxing. I loved it. I never ever thought I'd be a knitter, and I wouldn't call myself a knitter, but I'm a wannabe knitter. I'm a novice knitter, and I am absolutely thrilled. I'm thrilled with them. Thrilled. And they fit my feet. I didn't expect them to. I really didn't expect them to, but they do, and I love them. And they bring me so much happiness. The other good thing about knitting I found is that normally if I'm stitching on an evening, obviously I need my stitching lights on, I have my daylight lamp, and sometimes it does shine in hubby's eyes if we're watching TV, or I did find that if I was stitching late into the evening, I think you know how blue light isn't supposed to be very good for us off our like tablets. I did just wonder if it was making it harder for me then to go to sleep because of all the blue light from the daylight lamp. I'm not sure. I'd love to know what you think. Do you find any difference if you've used your daylight bulbs late at night, or does it not make any difference to you? So with knitting, I mean, I still have to concentrate, and I'm like literally like looking what I'm doing, like stabbing these needles. I'm not a pretty knitter, I'm just like, but I don't need the big light on, so that's quite nice. It's a bit more relaxing. So I've been enjoying that. And New Start bought this wool because I decided I'd like to try knitting a thicker pair of socks. So this is DK weight 8 ply. Again, I'm sorry if I'm saying things wrong. To all of you knitters, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. So I bought 2 balls of this, and I just loved the colours, like that's why I bought it. It's like purpley, periwinkles, greys, whites, and it has a Fair Isle pattern when it knits up. There's a sock knitting addicts group on Facebook who are really, really good. I've learnt loads of tips from them. And I think I asked a couple of questions in there, and somebody said that this is designed really for bigger garments, not so much for socks, just because it knits up in a slightly different pattern when it's bigger rather than small. But anyway, it is actually knitting up really well, and so I started my 3rd sock on, when did I start my 3rd? Right, so I finished. When did I finish this? Did I written it down? I started it on Christmas Day, and then I finished my first one on the 5th of January, and I started my 2nd sock because I was so excited. I started it the day after on the 6th of January, and then I finished this on the 17th, and I had my pair. And then on the 20th, I cast on my new purple sock, and I finished that the last day of January. La! You see, I've got a bit obsessed with knitting socks now. So this is Winnick Mum's 8 ply like basic sock pattern. And yeah, I'm just doing what she said basically. I have stitched extra on the cuff. I think you were supposed to do maybe 16 rounds, but I wanted a really thick cuff. See, I shouldn't be changing any patterns. I tell you, I wanted to do a cable sock, and I was like, no, Hayley, that's too. just knit some plain ones first before I start trying to do these fancy cable patterns, because just this is a struggle. So I don't know why I try and make it harder for myself. Anyway, so I can turn it over. I think I got cocky, so I was like, okay, well I've knitted 2 socks now. Hopefully I'll knit this 3rd one. It's on slightly bigger needles, and because it's thicker yarn, I didn't need so many stitches on, and I was like, oh, this is great, this will be quite quick. No, I made so many mistakes. I made more mistakes with this one than I did with the other. So I did my knitting, and then I got down to about here, and then the colour changed into the purple, and I was knit, and I did down to about here, and I decided that I wanted, where the cuff, like the ribbed cuff changes to plain knit, that's where I wanted the colour change to be. So I ripped back like quite a few rows, which scared me to death because I get really scared about picking up the stitches once, like the off the needle. That just freaks me out. I just think that it's just going to unravel forever, and then it's all going to be gone. So, but I did manage, and I managed to pick them back up. It's slightly easier with the thicker wool. Or this isn't wool, I think this is 100% acrylic. And then I carried on, so I changed my cuff to there, and then changed. And then I was knitting. I had done the heel flap at the back, and then picked up the gusset stitches, and this sock was huge. It was massive, and I was like, there's something gone wrong here. And I couldn't, and because I'm so new, I didn't have a clue where I'd gone wrong. I had a feeling something was off, because I knew that I had picked up more gusset stitches than I had even with these socks, and if anything I should have been picking up less, because I had less stitches on, and I was like, something's really off here. And this all just like ballooned, and I was like, anyway, eventually I worked out that I had read the pattern wrong, because this time I was trying to work off Winnick Mum's like written instructions rather than Crazy Sock Lady's video, and so I'd read it wrong. And instead of doing 19 rows, you're supposed to do like what are you supposed to do? A decrease and then a knit, or I don't know. But instead of doing 19 rows, I had done 19 repeats. So I had basically done like 38 rows. So that's why it was huge. So I ripped it all back. I think I ripped it back to where the heel flap is. Maybe that's where I'd gone wrong. Anyway, who knows? Who knows? And so I had to do the whole of like the heel turn, the heel flap, the gusset. I had to do all of that again. But I'm glad that I did, because it fits really well. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't look great on there, but it fits. Out of the two though, I do think I prefer the 4-ply. I think these make really neat little socks. And they get softer as I've washed them, which is lovely. So anyway, I finished that sock, and I was just a bit over it, if I'm honest. Just because I had, you see there's mistakes there, like, I don't know, I've gone wrong. Something's gone wrong there. And there. This is like well worse than the others. But anyway, it's all learning. And then the day after, so the 1st of February, I've cast on the second sock, because I really, really hope that I can just get this done, because then, yeah, I'm kind of a bit over these ones. And I think I might go back to my 4-ply. So I've cast on, knitted most of the ribbed cuff, and I think I've just got another couple of rows to go, and then I will be onto the leg. I haven't matched it as well either. You can see here, look, that's not matched well at all. It's King Cole Fur Rail Effect self-patterning yarn. It's Fjord, the Fjord one. And this is in the colour Volder. So it's these like purples. And I also got, I mean, these are just gorgeous colours. And this is in the colour Etny. And they've just got some really gorgeous colours. So I think I'm hooked now. I do think I'm hooked. So at some point, when I've finished these socks, I would like to knit another pair in this colourway. But I think once I finish this sock here, I think I will knit something else. Maybe go back to 4-ply socks, or I do have a couple of projects I'd love to try. Whether they're too advanced for a beginner, I'm not sure. We will see. But yeah, finish my socks. And finally, I have been given some stitchy kindness. Like, what's better than a stitchy gift? So the lovely Catherine over at the Voyage of the Drawn Threader very kindly has given me this. So this is a Mill Hill Buttons and Beads kit, and it's the Winter Wonderland. There's two Mill Hill kits that are both, they've both this like wintry forest theme. There's this Winter Wonderland, and then there's another one, the one with like the silver birches, and I think there's a little red, it's either a robin or a cardinal. I feel like it's a little red bird in there, might be a cardinal. And I absolutely love both of them. And we went to our local L&S and we saw this all stitched up, and it looked gorgeous. And I was saying how much I liked it. So anyway, she bought it for me. She went back and purchased it for me. And so the kit comes, I've never ever done a Mill Hill kit before, and it comes with all of the beads and then this cute little bunny charm. I'm thrilled with this, guys. I couldn't believe it when she gave it to me. So Catherine, because I think she's watching, thank you so much. Honestly, I can't believe it. Thank you. I'm really looking forward to stitching this. I might save it and try and stitch it in December. I think that would be so lovely. So yeah, I can't wait to start stitching this. And it's always really nice to be able to see things stitched, because they always look so different to the pattern. Yeah, the photos never do them justice, do they? So Catherine over at the Voyage of the Drawn Threader on Instagram, she is at 926 followers. So it would be so lovely if we could get her up to 1,000. I just think that's such a cool milestone to reach. So if you like, she does a lot of very fine embroidery. She does a lot of gold work. She does a lot of very advanced embroidery techniques, white work. She's currently doing a course, like a deep dive into Goldwork course. So if you love any of that kind of thing, you can check out her Instagram page, and the photography is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So you can go and check her out, say hi from me, and let's see if we can get her over 1,000 subscribers. That would be fun. Right, so that is everything for today. I'm sorry, I feel like it's been a whirlwind. I've been like, right, let's get through everything, because I didn't have very long to film. So I hope you are all keeping really safe and well. I will be back at the end of February for my February update, and I appreciate you all so very much. Happy stitching, and bye.